So that's made in China, 2019, December. And maybe that 06 mean December 6? Either way, I have a problem.
This is Gus G, and you're watching Guitar Gear Guy. Thank you for tuning in.
Well, coronavirus be damned. So, based on the serial number, maybe this thing was made in China factory while the virus was going around in China. You know they were hiding it from the media until the whole thing became a big deal. So, not that I'm a paranoid man, and of course the virus is gonna have some kind of a surface life where I'm sure it's okay, but here goes the disinfecting wipe. Maybe a little too late, I don't know, but brand new guitar, and either I kill it with fire, or I dip it in an alcohol bath, or I disinfect the thing, and based on the serial number, hopefully it was made well before and just got stamped that day. I don't know, you guys.
To see your golden smile, feel of 1,000 kisses. Oh, please stay a while. I'll reach up to hold your sunlit face.
Well, it looks like a Telecaster, smells like a Telecaster, feels like a Telecaster, must be a Telecaster, or is it? Hello everyone, how are you? This is yours truly, Triple G, coming at you once again. If you're new to my channel is all about guitar and all the related gear, which I all own and pay for with my own money. Nothing is ever given to me or sponsored, so you come here to get the non-professional weekend warrior next door chump kind of a perspective, unbiased look into all the gear which I share with you my opinion on. If you are a repeat visitor, I do also thank you for your time, as I understand there's a lot of other good content out there on YouTube. Thank you. All right, so today what we have is a Squier Affinity Telecaster, although that's how it started, and it's somewhat still that guitar, but I did make some modification, which I'll talk to you about today. So Squire, for those of you who don't know, is a brand that is owned by Fender Musical Instruments. Basically, all the legendary models of a Fender, like the Strat, Tele, Jaguar, Mustang, so all those things, they still make them available to us at a much more affordable price point under the brand name Squire, much as how Gibson does Epiphone and so on and so forth. Also, you could look at it as Lexus and Toyota, Acura and Honda, that kind of thing. And then when you talk about the lineup of Squier guitars, you go from the Bullet series, which is the most affordable, then Affinity series of guitars, which this is that model, and then there's a Classic Vibe series, and then, if I'm not mistaken, and check me if I'm wrong, up on the top of the Squire range, there's a deluxe line, I believe. I think those cost like almost $450 brand new. And Classic Vibe right around $350. This thing is at $220. And then Bullet's costing right around $120 or so. In terms of this particular model, like I said, it's about $220 brand new. And let me just share with you, I have seen much worse at $220. Not sure if I've seen better, much better at $220, that price point. Now, make no mistake about it, no matter how nice this guitar is based on its price, it is somewhat asinine for me to say it plays as nice as the $4,000 PRS I have, or the $3,000 mayonnaise that I have. It's not nice as that. However, for a price tag that this thing is carrying, that's where the value proposition comes in. Now, also do keep in mind, if your budget is $220, which is what this guitar costs brand new, I would say you may be able to find a used guitar carrying the same price tag, which it probably started off as a $500 guitar or $400 guitar, which would be a better spec than this. Of course, that's in consideration of what the original owner did in terms of how well it's cared for, so on and so forth. So anytime you do a mod project, I call this Squier Affinity Modcaster. So anytime you do a mod project, especially on guitar, and I'm an avid cyclist, I say the same thing about bikes, you need a good skeleton to build upon. So, there are things that are very easily interchangeable, such as the tuning machines and even the strap buttons, pickups, the electronics, all those are easy. What you need is a good skeleton to build on. And for that, I would say the body and the neck. So for this particular mod project that I did, the new pickups and the wiring harness, which included the pots and the all that stuff, the parts alone cost actually about the same, if not more, than how the guitar was priced brand new. Now, some of you may say sacrilege for me to put this type of pickups in a Telecaster, but basically what happened was I got the guitar in for this project, and I did not plug it in once. I actually don't know what the stock pickups sound like, because I never actually plugged it in. So it came in, I got it out of the box. I immediately took the new parts into the guitar and started the mod project. All right, so now let's take a look at the specs. It is a alder body guitar, which is painted solid or competition orange, they call it. The paint job is really nice, actually. There's no lumpy part. Everything is smooth. There's no runny part that they didn't do it correctly. So very well done. The neck is a satin bag, which is just a pleasure to play. And it's a C shape, 21 medium jumbo frets with the Indian Laurel fretboard, which carries a slightly lighter tone than your typical rosewood. The stock Affinity Telecaster came with the two single coil pickups right here, which appropriately have been swapped out for mine right here, which I did the upgrade, and then master volume, master tone, three-way selector. Also, mine has been modified, which I'll talk to you about in a bit. As far as the bridge hardware is concerned, I actually prefer this type of a bridge on Tele than the other kind. It's the one that this part also comes on this side and that side. So when you're resting your palm, especially when you're trying to palm mute the strings right at the saddle contact point, that's a little harder. So I actually prefer this type. Although I would have preferred the strings to go through the through body, through the holes on the back rather than top load as such. And the rest of it is just the, you know, the generic bridge saddle, generic tuning machines, the generic pots and such, which I, again, as I told you before, stripped out and tossed immediately. All right, so let's talk about, you know, what I think about this guitar, which is why we're here. For all the years that I've been into guitars, I've never been into Teles and Strats, really, because, you know, I listen to a lot of metal and things of that nature, so it really never spoke to me. But at some point last year, I had this revelation where I really came around on the whole thing and fell in love with the Strats and Teles and just overall body shape. Now, for a Telecaster to carry this kind of a setup, it's not new for, say, you got your Rich Kotzen, you got John 5, you got Jim Root, all those guys, they carry Teles, but complete metal shred monsters. So I really love the way this thing came together. So when I fell in love with the Telecasters overall last year, what I did was I found a good deal on a brand new Tele, US Tele, and so I called that my proper Telecaster, as the British would say. But I wanted another one that is more aggressive, and I did go through different mod projects last several months, which all failed, and this is the one that actually turned out well. And then earlier I mentioned something about having a good skeleton to start your mod project started off on. This was a great starting point for me because I love the orange. Orange me all day. The neck is super well finished and it's just really lovely to play on. And then this neck pocket right here is really tight, and the way the neck is bolted to the body, it is a straight, there's no play, no jiggle, no wiggle. So this was a great platform for me to start off with. And then to my surprise, and I did not anticipate this because I didn't have a chance to play this at a store, I just ordered it online. The nut that is cut, you know, at this point at $220, I'm not gonna say what material the nut should have been made out of. Whatever this material is, I'm sure it's something cheap. It is cut perfectly. I mean, there's nothing sticking out. Now, I did file the lower 3 strings down to accept a slightly wider string gauges, because what I did was it comes a 9-42 standard, but I actually strung my guitar with a 9-46. So I actually still have to adjust the intonation just a bit. But the magic comes in on the rest of the neck. The fret job on point. I don't know when the overseas companies have started to do such a great job, but the fret work is absolutely impeccable on this. For you to tell me this is a $220 guitar carrying this kind of fret job right out of the gate, I would have said you're shitting me, but guess what? It is true. The neck is absolutely solid. So all that is positive. So what is not so great about this guitar right out of the gate, which would soon need a little bit of a TLC, would be the tuning machines. These are absolute garbage. They don't hold very well. They are not even in terms of friction. They just need to go. As far as the detail of my modification goes, the wiring harness is a pre-wired 920D wiring harness for Telecaster. Because I went with the 2 humbuckers, what I got was the 500K pots, and then 3-way selector, and this I believe is the coil split. Now I failed on my wiring of neck pickup, so my neck doesn't coil split, but the bridge does. And speaking of the pickups, this is DiMarzio Area T. T stands for Telecaster, and this is the DiMarzio Super Distortion T for Telecaster. I don't think, all of like hundreds of guitars that have gone through my hands, I don't think I've ever owned a guitar actually that has a super distortion ever. Maybe I did, Charvel or Ibanez, but that is irrelevant. This pickup absolutely screams. It is crunchy. It is just everything that I actually wanted for me to try on this Telecaster. So I'm really glad that I went with that. All right, so in conclusion, this guitar overall costed me about $400, the whole thing, after I bought the guitar new and the parts to upgrade. However, if you could find yourself a good condition used Affinity, Craigslist, Reverb, whatever, and you throw in your own selection of pickups that you like to use, maybe you're not a fan of like a heavy crunchy tone like you know, I am, you would be able to come away with a really solid kit without having to blow your entire budget on just a guitar. As this particular Squier Affinity, even before the upgrade, really punches well above its weight class. You know, the Telecaster, tried and true. I mean, early 50s when Leo built the first model, and the utilitarian nature of the guitar, you know, you can take the neck off if it's broken, you know, whatever. You know, Leo really did it correctly. As a consultant, you know, I'm in technology field. I always tell my clients, you know, we do it once and we do it right. That is the motto. And when you look at something like Strat and Teles, you could really say Leo did it right and did it right the first time. So with that, I conclude this episode. If you stuck around this far, I really, again, appreciate your time. If you enjoyed this video, really, please click subscribe, hit the bell notification, hit the like button. It really does a lot for me, for this channel. I mean, I'm not here to make YouTube money. I just do this out of my pure pleasure and fun of it, just sharing my thoughts with you. That's what this channel is all about. Okay, so with that, I will conclude this episode. I'll come see you again sometime soon. You've been awesome. I've been Triple G. You guys be good humans. And until next time, Triple G out.